Hi guys, heavy things lightly. Nino Ghambashidze from Georgia. She's on live with me, but it's on tape for you. It was morning for me, night for her, and guess what? She tells us all about what it is, this thing that we do at our restaurant, this thing that is hot, the thing I want you to do in your house that is sort of a return to the Agape feast. She talks about it because she owned it and lived it. She talks about what is the essence. How do you not lose the Supra like us dumb Americans are trying to share it? Like, how do we not lose it? She talks about what do the Georgians think about it these days? She talks about the mists of time, where it came from. And she's Georgian, and she knows, and I don't. And so the microphone is being handed off to an expert from Georgia today on Heavy Things Lightly. All right, hello guys. I'm here with Nino.
Hello.
Ghambashidze. So this has been a long time coming, and I'm very excited. And she's our Georgian friend who is helping us learn more about Supra. So Nino, will you just tell us where you are and what you've been doing as an academic in Georgia and why you fell in love with Supra?
It's my way of life. Supra is a way of life of Georgians, and it is very difficult to answer. Maybe we can speak a lot and answer why I like Supra, but also it is my life. Supra is my life. I am Nino Ghambashidze. By my first profession, I'm anglist, and then I've changed my profession. I became ethnologist, and so I work in religion. And why I decided to, and also I am psychotherapist, analytical psychotherapist. Why I decided
and a psychotherapist, interesting.
And a psychotherapist, yes. And why I decided to study Supra, because traditional Supra somehow changed in modern times, and because of it. Those who didn't know about real traditional Supra and how to arrange, how to lead, how to be at Supra, do not know it really. They decided to speak that it is something not so nice. And there were a lot of critical publications about Supra. And as I was brought up in a very traditional environment where Supra was very important, I decided to study together with now he's passed away, my colleague, and to study what it is really Georgian Supra and the origins of it. And I want to tell you a story, what it is for me, Supra. Yes, what it is.
Okay, I would love that.
Yes,
just so people watching can understand, Nino's writings are some of the things that we've been reading back in the States when we started the restaurant, Agape. And there's this debate that we're going to talk about. And we had to sort of figure out what Supra is to us in America. And so she became this famous author for us. But I don't know that you're famous. For me, you were famous because we were learning. And then you had these words that were like, oh my gosh, this is what we're trying to do. And then Daniel reached out to you just into the world of the internet. And you wrote back, and then we all met. Well, you and I are meeting, but our group who visited met with you at a small little Supra, correct?
Yes.
So that's how first things in our work got to know Nino. So now, please tell me this story on Supra, because we're going to get into it. It's great.
Yes, the story. And very often I tell this story, and once more I will tell you to you too. My granddaughter was a little one, and one day, you know that all over the world now people are giving gifts at Christmas, New Year, but we who were living in Soviet Union, we were not celebrating Christmas. It was forbidden. But by the way, we always celebrate Easter. And despite of everything, and so we celebrated New Year. It was a great joy for us, and big holiday, and mostly we celebrated New Year. And she asked me once, Granny, what gifts they are gifted to you in your childhood? And I looked at her astonished and realized that nothing, not a single gift was given to me at that days. And I said, no, nothing. They are not giving me anything. And I saw that she was pitied me so much, and she was so sorry about it. And I told her, no, don't be sorry. Because what it was more than any gift. And why it was? From the very beginning in the morning, when we were all sitting at the table in the eve of New Year, in the morning, from the very beginning, we were going back to our family where I was born, where my granny was, where my sometimes another grandpa and grandma and my uncle was. We were starting, and by the way, my relatives were living on one and the same street, and very close relatives. And the street was after my very great grandfather, and so we started from that family. When we were entering it, my uncle had very good friends. The Supra was late. We were greeted heartedly. I was caressed. We were sitting, dining together. There was humor. There was love, great joy. Then we had to go and visit other close relatives. It was they didn't want us to leave. That we were saying we are sorry, but we should go. We are going. We were going to my aunt's place and my another grandma's place. There, the same humor, love, singing, Supra, tasting wonderful the dishes specially made for that day. And then after this, we're going to another relatives, and at home we were returning very tired, very happy. And besides, what is New Year for us, and the Supra also, New Year Supra for us, the main thing that we do at New Year Supra is gozinari. You know surely what is gozinari, but and it is very sacred one, if I can say so, because everybody is making its own way, and we taste everywhere and saying, yes, this gozinaki is global. They cannot do this year very well, and we are ringing to those, calling them.
Tell us what gozinaki is.
Yes, it is a candy made of honey and walnuts, Greek nuts. And so we are calling to those who can do gozinaki. Hi, how you are doing? How many honey, and how shall we do that?
It's like a competition.
Like a competition, and best gozinaki. So it is we need not. I need not presence at the time.
No.
I was presented with love, with humor, with carelessing, and so the most thing that we needed.
Do you think today, and we'll get into what a Supra is, like how it works, but today this dinner with this toasting and the traditions, do you think it's being replaced with gift giving? Is it being replaced with other ideas now in that way? Is that why your granddaughter did not understand? Or do you think Georgians are still carrying through on the Supra that you remember?
It depends. Some still are following the old New Year traditions of Supra somehow, but I don't think that it is bad giving gifts and children are very happy. And not at all. And in fact, I also was working on that question. In fact, it is what it is. It is Christmas gifts, gifts that were given to. It reminds me to that gifts which were given to newly born Jesus Christ, and mostly we are giving these gifts to children, but to adults too.
And so very good tradition. I see. So then, what is it about? So for me, the Supra captured me during 94, 95 in Abkhazia. Well, I was in Akhatsike, and I was working with people who were suffering from the war, and they kept throwing Supra, 1994. And everyone knew what to do. Everyone knew the tradition. And so when I read your papers, I think there's I would say many of the Tamada that I knew then did not know what your papers say, except they knew it in their bones. They knew it as a spiritual knowledge, but not as an academic knowledge. Would you say that Georgians have inherited Supra from the ancient world, or is it coming from very modern place? How would you describe Supra today in Georgia?
I think that there are three questions that you asked. Yeah. And
I do that a lot. Forgive me.
No, we are to put questions here and answer questions, so it is very okay. And so I think that it is coming from very, very ancient times. And there are some evidences and artifacts showing that Supra and merrymaking with wine was traditional. Imagine, I tell you my opinion about it. Only my opinion, that imagine 8,000 years ago, Georgians made wine from grapes, and they understood what it is for when they taste and they feel joy. And more than joy. And by the way, through this period of time, old people knew how to treat with wine. It should be known, because it can harm you if not treated appropriately. So I think that this is coming from very, very ancient times, because through these years, the identity of Georgians is strong, is very much singing, musical, the dedication to music and humor. and they are devoted parts to Supra. In fact, and why it is from the ancient times, because all religious rituals were used to be ended with Supras.
Super.
Everywhere, because the sacrificed animal should have been eaten and spread all over the participants, and it means the community. It meant the community, and
do you think, as Saint Nino came and as Georgia became Orthodox Christian, do you think those traditions became tied together? How would you describe that relationship?
Of course, it was all, scientists say that they believe that ethnogenesis of Georgian people finished in the 3rd millennium BC. And then it was ongoing process, of course, and
Sure.
it already was in our blood and bones when Sant Andrew came. You know that spreading Christianity has its periods, and first period of disciples spreading Christianity, just saying good news and establishing communities. Then it was establishment of a church, and the 4th century it was Saint Nino who came. And imagine, if I can say so, Georgian cross Nino's cross is made of wine.
Andrew will show that cross right now. Our editor, he'll show the cross. Yeah. So that's good. Show that cross right now, Andrew. Keep going, Nino. Sorry.
Yes. And so wine was very much in our hearts, in our tradition, to say it was transmitted by our blood, maybe the attitude towards wine. And this tradition, I adore this tradition when it is planted everywhere. It goes on houses, on traditional houses, and it is for us, it means a lot for us. And by the way, yes.
No, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
By the way, Supras are of very different kinds.
Yes, go into that. Well, first, let's say this. I want to hear about the different kinds. Is it true? Well, go ahead and tell us about that. Then I have a question for you. How are they different kinds, and how does that work? And what did your studies show you about the way this dinner changes depending on region and occasion?
Yes, I mean it is everyday supras, and it is also very interesting, everyday supras. And in old days, you know that families were gathering together and dining together, and it was wonderful tradition. Now
I saw that in the 90s. Yeah, I saw it.
And now it is not there. And at a dinner, I will tell you my experience in my childhood. Please. Even at the dinner, everybody were drinking a cup of wine. Even with children, we were taught, we also were permitted to drink a cup of wine. When we were little ones, we were the water and wine. They were mixing water and wine, and we were drinking this way. And then afterwards, when we were becoming older, we were drinking a cup of wine. And I remember my grandpa's brother, when we were dining together, he was drinking, usually we say 3 cups of wine because of Trinity, but he was always drinking the 4th one. This is for the 4 Gospels. He used to
is that
say.
right? Okay.
He was saying this way, and of course it is also tradition, and at everyday supras we also were studying how to dine, how to sit, how to be at supra appropriately and behave. Children, we were studying this. So supras are also after funerals, and the funeral banquets are a lot. And those banquets are, of course, without music, without singing, very short, much more shorter than holiday or feast banquets. And sometimes they say that there are only 7 toasts said at funeral banquets.
At a funeral supra.
It's a funeral supra.
And the funeral supra is called a
kelech.
How do you say it?
Kelech.
Kelech. Yes, kelech. And 7 toasts. And at a supra for, I don't know, a friend that's coming to visit, how many toasts would there be? It could be, I was taught 16 toasts.
No, any amount you want. How long you sit at the table, can talk, can enjoy itself. You can drink as much, but in all the day, drinking, how much you drink, it also was a tradition, because in all the days they do not like to drink much. But of course, everybody cannot follow these rules. Even, for instance, there are archival materials about Highland, East Georgia Highland, Chasureti, where they were sitting at festivals, and they had one bowl of beer, and they had to drink only one bowl of beer during the whole night.
Oh, just one.
This was just one. Even there are, this is that, and at that place, but in other places, maybe when you have, when you have 3 days of wedding, you cannot drink only one cup of.
Well, you can tell people that the supra can last. So when the Tamada gives the first toast, it can go. We were just at one that started at 7 p.m. and lasted until 3:30 a.m. in the morning. And there was about 30 people there the whole night. And when I tell Americans, they don't really believe that. But we were still getting food at 2 in the morning. They brought food. Yes. And so it was very traditional. And we had a woman tamada. Did you know that?
Yes, but it is not traditional. But there were women's supra, only when there are only women, of course. It is, it's such a kind of tradition that Georgians cannot sit without it at table. You immediately want to say something. 1, 2, or 3, even 3 toasts. You should say something, and then afterwards you can speak and go ahead. Now, I can tell you a story. I remember it, and I love this story very much. What happened with me, and was on my field work 1988 it was, if I'm not mistaken. I was in Heavy in eastern Georgia mountains, and I went into a village, Ranobi, so I found myself together with my friend, a colleague, in a family. I entered this family and I saw that there was a young lady of my age. It was her birthday. 2 or 3 young ladies were sitting there. They, of course, invited us. We saw each other for the first time. Imagine. And I found myself Tamada there.
Oh, really?
It happened so that I came from nowhere to that family, to this young lady whose birthday was. I found myself at the table, and they said, "You should be Tamada."
Please, they elected you. They elected you.
They elected me, and it happens in Georgia. This is Georgia. This was Georgia. Such things were happening because, Supra and hospitality are devoted hearts to each other. In old days, not so, maybe 30 years before, now it is not so. We didn't close doors. Anybody, our neighbors could enter. Oh, hello. What are you doing? Oh, yes. Well, sometime, maybe your beloved person or friend will ring you and come and, oh, hello, what a good thing. And so laying table, what we had at home, no matter. So we were talking. And a story. A very important story I want to tell you about hospitality. 90s in Georgian were very difficult years.
Yeah.
No electricity, no gas, no food, and very difficult. No bread and so on. You know it very well. And my friend was telling me a story that she went to her friend's place and they have a foreign guest. So when they received the guest, it is for Georgian, it is very difficult situation. It is this real distress when a guest is at home and you have nothing to bring on the table. And grandma of my friend's friend, the hostess of that house, went into an entrance. And called her neighbors. Neighbors, she called them. I have a guest. Please help me. What you have at home, bring. And people brought. Imagine, people brought and they received with respect this guest.
I'm going to cry, seriously, because that was me. I was the guest during the 90s. I would go and try to do this relief work, and then somebody would see me as I walked through. I lived by myself as an American on the border with Turkey. Can you imagine where NATO, that whole demilitarized zone of southern Georgia, and I was the first American there for 100 years. And so everyone would say, here. They would say, Johnny, Modi Biju, come to our house. And then the men would invite me to the table, but there would be no food. And so I would hear I would hear people running around I was the guest, and I would cry when I would go home because I was being given more than I was offering, and I was moved for my entire life now to remember these moments when people loved others more than themselves. It was like real, true Christianity. It was crazy. Nino, it was crazy. Your people they woke me up. It was good. It was
yes,
good.
and I was told that my great-grandfather when he was dining and there was no guest at home, just every day, even in the evening, he was going out in the street and asking people to come and be
Oh, really?
guests.
Really?
And he was not the only one. It is also tradition ours. And we say that guest is a messenger of God. And there is a special feast day before, it is Sunday before Shrovetide week, that everybody in the mountains, everybody should boil some piece of meat. Because there is a legend. You remember in that very day in the church, we read Matthew 25, chapter 25, that I was, who was asking you to give me a drink? And
I was hungry. You did not.
You did
feed
not.
Me, yeah.
I was thirsty.
You did not give me drink.
And so what they say at that day, why they boil it? Because they are waiting for Jesus Christ. Because the legend says that a man was very rich and he was boiling very good food. And there was a knock and there was a beggar and asked something. He said, I have nothing. And this beggar went to the next door, and there was an old lady having nothing. And what she had, she cried and said, unfortunately, I have nothing to share with you. And suddenly legend says that in her home, a rich man's food appeared. And a rich man was deprived of this food because it was Jesus Christ. And everybody was waiting for Jesus Christ at that day.
So these stories are taken seriously. They're found in the culture.
Yes.
That was my experience. So now tell us do two things. One, I want to hear about young people today in Georgia and Supra. But first, tell us about rules, because we do this restaurant and people come, last night. They were Americans. They didn't know each other. They started doing the Supra. Our Tamada was teaching them as we went, but everyone who's new, they're very focused on the rules. So can I drink with my left hand? Am I allowed to pour my own wine? Am I allowed to say a toast if I don't ask the Tamada? So we teach the rules, but it's funny because the Americans focus on the rules. No, don't say anything. But when I'm in Georgia, everyone knows the rules, but they don't care about that. They care, but they don't. How can I say it? It's like it's both and. It's a paradox. The rules are present, but not everyone is worried about them. I find my American friends they want to do everything by the rules. It's very interesting. What's that about?
When you drive, you think about rules. You do
True.
You do not. When you drive, you do not. But there are rules, and so we are this.
It's true.
So when Daniel was here, I told he put me near the same question. I said, relax and enjoy. What it means, it is when Tamada is elected, he leads. Not to be chaotic, dining, not to be chaotic, should be interesting. He should lead that Supra. He should say toast. He should speak. Should tell stories. Humor is a devoted part of Georgian Supra, if it is not funeral Supra, and singing is absolutely devoted thing.
Okay.
And so, what is the rule? It is the same when you respect each other. You should respect each other, When one speaks, others should listen to it, which is not here in Georgia anymore.
People aren't listening.
People are out of the speaking, don't listening, because they rarely meet each other, and they are happy very much to meet each other and share what they want to tell them. So when Tamada is saying, then he allows to speak the members of Supra, and they can express themselves absolutely sincerely. Now, this Supra should relax you when you sit there. Yes, and it is one famous public figure and ethnographers and wonderful person, Tedo Sahokia, was writing that it is Puris Gatecha, breaking bread, means Supra and friendship, because you sit with your friend. Usually people were sitting together with friends, but there were invited guests also, and they were specially treated. But it is so interesting that at funerals, when you go to express condolences, no one is guest. Though you can come to a certain, there is this interesting tradition. When a person was going to a certain village, to a certain family as a guest, and in that very village, somebody was dead, and everybody were going to express condolences, the guest felt obligation to go and, though he might not know that person, go and express his condolences. But nobody will treat him like a guest there, because in front of death, everybody is the same.
Family.
Yes. Yes. So, according as for rules, to come back to the rules, older people were this respect of between generations. It was
here's a question. Tamada is doing the first toast, the second toast. This is for me. I just want to know this. It doesn't matter for Americans. They're learning it. By the way, people love this. I think you know, I've told you. Americans love this. One, not because it's Georgian and, it's a unique culture. They sense it's necessary. They sense this is a restoration of something that we lost. Even though the Georgian tradition is different than the American tradition. It's like, I know this. It's so foreign, but I still know it somehow. Like, how do I know this? And my theory is it's because it's an expression of eternity, of all human endings end at banquets. Like, that's what heaven looks like. So somehow we're meant for this. But my question, Tamada, first toast to God, Upalo, and second toast, third toast. Should we ask for Sagradzello in the for the toast? Even early. We can ask even early in the toast, or should we wait till after the fifth toast or sixth toast?
Yes.
Or is it okay to ask for toast?
Yes, we should ask for permission to say toast.
And it's okay to do it early. In other words, we can even on the second toast to friendship or something. I can say, please, Sagradzello. I can ask for a toast?
Yes. In old days, there were some sequence of Sagradzellos, and when they were over, then members of Supra might ask. There was a sequence. For instance, what I know and what I experienced, that first was, of course, of God. I like very much also Svanetian tradition of toasting. They traditionally after God's toast, they were saying Saint George's toast.
Saint George.
Saint George, Saint Michael's, and then deceased people. Usually, usually Georgians,
three or five, they do the toast to the dead.
Yes.
In Ghambashidze, it was fifth toast.
Yes, yes. But in Svaneti, they say that how they explain this. They say that because we are speaking about Saint and God, let's speak about deceased people.
I see. It goes together. I see.
And one of my beloved toasts is for those deceased people who have nobody to remember them. It is traditional toast in Georgia for those who have nobody to say toast to remember them.
Yeah. Do you, in your studies, do you believe that the symbolism of the Supra table is tied in deep ways to the symbolism, to the liturgy, to the Orthodox liturgy?
Yes.
Are there connections there? How would you describe them?
Yes, I during my studies, I came to that conclusion that it is a kind of transformation of agapes into Supra, because Agape feast, because it was devoted part of the first Christian's liturgy, you know very well. And now what is remarkable for me, the first liturgy was called breaking of bread. And in Georgian also, one of the names of Supra is breaking of bread, Puris Gatecha. Now let's break the bread. They say to one another and say, let's go break a bread.
Yeah,
sit
that's right.
down
that's
and
right.
I have good wine. Let's sit and
break the bread.
Break the bread. What is the breaking of bread? Breaking of bread is Last Supper. He broke the bread and this. And you know, in old times, they were not cutting the bread. Bread was of different form. Georgian.
And they were tearing it.
Yes, they tear. And for those who listen to us, I will explain. Georgian bread is flat or so-called moon form, new moon form, and you can easily tear it. And when they were tearing it, giving to another person, to fellow brother who is sitting next to you. And what was very interesting, it is also tradition and it is also in our thinking and identity that if a person, unknown person, comes to Supra, everybody is hospital to that person, and afterwards, after dining together, he becomes friend to those people with whom he dined.
This is important. I heard this often. I even heard this story is when they would say in Akhatski, when the Turks or the Persians or whoever, when the enemy comes, first we feed them. And then if we must afterwards, we fight them. I heard that a lot. First we do Supra together because it will probably fix our problem. That's the way they'd say it. So,
yes.
So what do you think we should be in America as we sort of, I don't know, spread this tradition through the restaurant and through Daniel's work at Supra Dinner Society? Businesses are very interested in this. Here's what's happening, Nino. So I want you to know. and we're going to try to find a way to bring you to talk about this, but to the United States. But big businesses are saying our people don't know each other. When our executives get together, they go golfing or they go bowling or something. But we're starting to see that people here in those power positions, they want something deeper, but they don't feel they can be religious. In America, we're very secular. So they don't feel like, in a big company, they can be religious. So what we're finding is they like to have one of us come and throw a party for them in the Supra tradition, because it's religious, but also, the Soviets did it. The communists could do Supra somehow. And so what I'm finding is they like to hire us to do this because the dinner is so authentic. And so what's your advice to us and to Daniel and at SDS as we build this? How do we not lose how do we keep it beautiful? Because I'm afraid, I'm afraid.
If you do not trust with whom you dine, how the spirit of love and the spirit of agapes and the spirit of mutual sharing will be? How? And it should be spontaneous. Enjoy it. Enjoy the joy. Georgian Supra is joy. I will tell you one, just before meeting you, a friend of mine, I often meet my friends and we dine together and we share news and the Supra. Maybe we do not say toast, but without toast, it is also Georgian Supra. I may assure you. And so one of my friends, she is ill, and I asked her how you are, and she told me, now she told me everything. And then when I soon become well, and then we all four, let's gather, have mtzvadi and wine and sit together and speak and love each other. If you do not trust, if you do not relax, if you do not have feeling of love, what feeling you have when you are at liturgy, if you are in liturgy, if you are praying, what feeling you have somehow elevated. Joy. This is Georgian Supra. Because
of it, I got goosebumps. Because it's true. It's just called life. See, I knew Nino. This is so good. This is it. This is what I try to tell people, because we get so worried about all the wrong stuff. Yeah, that's it. And that's really Tamada's job, is to let people settle into the most beautiful, peaceful place they can. Yeah, that's Tamada's job.
Yes, and tell a story. Storytelling. Storytelling
Please.
is,
yes.
And this last years, people who think very far from tradition, who are far from traditions, they say, Georgian Supra is an academy, and they smile and they laugh. Yes, it is. Because as a child, I have learned a lot of things at Supra. When my friends of my uncle, my grandpa, and my father, and everybody were telling stories, history, stories that are not in books, stories that are real life stories, more ethical and moral stories about people who did what and who say what. And also humor is very important. For Georgians, humor is very important. And it brings joy.
It does bring joy. I try to teach it. Tell me if I'm wrong. I say a Tamada should hit all the parts of life. So we suffer in life. So not every toast is a party. Not every toast is a joke, but you better tell a good joke and have a good story, because all the parts of life should be contained at the table like a cosmos. And sometimes people want only the fun stuff, only fun, without a toast to the dead. Or sometimes the tables want serious. And I'm like, nah, it's not that either. It's both. It's both.
And the most thing why also because of terms of Georgian Supra, because of this the first toast and the last one for the Holy Virgin, and many things. I think that it originates from Agapes. And what is Agapes? Yeah. It is love. It is evenings of love. Agapes were evenings of love.
Nino, so, will you come back? Will you just come on here every couple months and just chat with me? And next time I'll have a little glass of wine. We can do a toast together.
So okay? You told me, and I also will have one.
Yes, I'll remind you, because we should have toasted. Yes. And we should thank God. And I'll do that next time. So will you count me a friend? And we'll just, because now I want to start another conversation, but I can't, my editor says I can't talk too long because people will turn it off. So, but we'll come back. But I see another conversation there about, how, like, why are people not able to relax so much? And I want to talk to you about Georgia, the election and all this stuff. So let's come back and do it. Okay. We'll plan on becoming friends, and I'm coming to Georgia in February and in May. So maybe I'll be a guest, and I'll make you invite me and treat me nice like a guest. Yes. I'll come to your house.
Yes. Welcome.
Please. It would be great. Will you just tell us one time, you're in Tbilisi, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And I'll link people to your papers. And just so you know, we're doing the Art of Tamada. It's an event for our nonprofit where we bring people together for a weekend. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we do talks. We're on the beach. I teach about Supra. Daniel will teach. And then we do the Supra. And then on the second night, you'll like this. I hope you like it. If you don't like it, I'm scared. On the second night, instead of one, please like it. You're like our coach. You're like our Supra coach, but on the second night there's 35 guests. So on the second night, we split it into 4 tables, and then we move people from table to table to be Tamada. So it's training. It's like, okay, now you're in charge of this table for 2 toasts, and then they take the table and do it, because I want people to leave and feel like they can go home and do this. And so that's what we're doing. I hope it's not too weird for you. I like it. I hope you like it.
Yeah, I do.
She's like, I don't know. It sounds weird to me, but we're teaching it. You should come next time. We'll do it.
Yeah, I should see it. I should see. Yes.
Okay. That's next time you come to Florida with us, and we'll do it together. Okay. But okay. I'll talk to you soon. And thank you. Thanks for coming on our podcast. Guys, that's Nino Ghambashidze. Guys, first things foundation. So I don't know what kind of world this is, but we meet people like Nino. Nino owns the thing that is deep at the heart of her culture. And Georgia, again, is just giving us a key to running our nonprofit. And that key is that when people are together at a table / in a culture, sharing side by side food and time and space, people at that point can almost solve any problem together at the level of love. Sort of this deep, if you want to call it, like a cultural molecular level. Where that exists, you can kind of do anything. That's what our guys try to go do. Thanks for listening. Peace out on Heavy Things Lightly.